she said.
I see us in the corner. What's going on, Lonnie? Look at us up in the corner. What's going on up there?
Where are you guys?
Excuse me.
Oh, you know what? I picked the wrong one.
Good.
Oh, she picked the wrong one. Thanks everybody for signing. This is what you get when you join up for our OnlyFans account. Oh, there we are. They're little boxes. Little boxes.
You missed our
Everybody.
OnlyFans show. We just missed our OnlyFans show, but you'd have to be like a bought-in fan to see like that stuff.
That's right, Chris. You got a great video of Chris changing his shirt.
Because I don't have anything to change underneath. People don't know, but I'm not wearing pants.
$8 for $8. Chris will change his shirt. That's great.
A lot of hair under there.
It is the Kids on the Escalator podcast. It is Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Over on Tuesday nights. Live to the world, everywhere. Facebook. Ready for the list? Because it's pretty big tonight.
Do it.
Facebook Live on mine and yours. YouTube. Kids on the Escalator YouTube. Mm-hmm. Kids on the Escalator YouTube. Dean Blundell Twitter pages. Chris's Twitter page. My Twitter page. You name it. We're everywhere. You can see us everywhere.
We are available.
We are available. And a rad show for us ahead tonight with an awesome guest.
An old friend, if you will.
An old friend.
An old friend.
Friend of ours. Yeah. Tim Millar from the band Protest the Hero.
Ah, wow. But is he from Protest the Hero or is he from Happy Go Lucky originally?
That's the question.
How many Protest the Hero fans are that big of a Protest the Hero fan that they know that not only were they originally called Happy Go Lucky, but they were pretty successful in our little scene there that Sum 41 came out of, and lots of other bands that we discussed before. I got a cat that's screaming. I apologize for that. He's about to get kicked out on the deck.
Okay.
He stops now. So yeah, so lots of good memories with Tim though, man. Like we go back when they were very, very young. We actually were partially responsible for recording their first works, their first recorded musical bits, 3 songs by Happy Go Lucky, and they're kind of like the hidden or the lost Protest the Hero tracks. So hold on while our producer goes and gets rid of our cat.
I just realized that the Partake IPA that sponsored the Brenton on Tour podcast is the same color. Look at this.
Wow.
This is called branding, folks.
You know what the big difference would be if I had that mug, though? There'd be alcohol in that mug.
That's right. There's no alcohol in this one, but
see, we're going back to our roots here, because back when we first started hanging out, I was doing a lot of partying, and Dent was doing a lot of partying, and you were driving the van in our band. Well, actually, we'll just say you were driving the van. You were taking care of all the business and staying sober back then as well, so that's fine. I'm used to this. It's no big deal. Or were you going to tell everybody that was alcoholic beer?
No, it's Partake. I recommend it. If
you're don't they make?
If you're trying to get off this, if you're trying to get off the sauce, or you know what? Actually, this is a very interesting thing, and I won't talk too much about it. But let's say you're going to the thing, and you're like, one of us has got to drive, the other one's gonna drink, but the other one's gonna be like, "Oh man, I got to drive and I can't drink." This is as close as you're gonna get to beer, and it tastes great. So you can still partake in the evening. And also be like, well, I'm drinking beer. I'm just not going to run my car into a ditch.
There you go. Nobody wants to run their car into a ditch. I've done that before. That's not
anyway. If you're watching your phone,
that's not good.
Lots to cover. A few things to cover off.
Well, we got to mention that our guest is Juno nominated, right?
Well, we'll let him mention that.
Oh, I thought it's common knowledge, man. It's all like if you go on the internet. But that's I'm just so. Do you know what
he's on the internet?
He's got 2 nominations, right? Him and his band. Tell us, what are they?
It's rad. Metal, and album artwork. So album of the year.
Well, I think I was saying they're like my favorite new metal band, I would say.
They're old. They're old guys now.
Oh yeah, I guess they are kind of. I don't know, but they're still writing music, so it's new metal, I guess. I don't know. I guess they're not really. No, that's a good point. Is new metal because it's like new or because it's young?
They're veterans.
Oh, I know they're veterans, man. I know. I've taught a lot of. See, that's the funny thing too. Is mention to Tim is when the kids come in and they reach the point of learning Protest the Hero. I'm stoked. Yet, because I got to take like an hour to learn to teach a half-hour lesson because their guitar stuff's really high up there. Right? It's really good. Blood Meat's probably my favorite. No, Hair Trigger's my favorite video. Blood Meat's my favorite song. I think it's from that same album.
Yeah, Blood Meat. I used it today for the a little bit of the promo today.
Great song, man, and the riffs in there are sensational.
On Instagram,
the way they jump from their finger tapping to bar chording and big chords and octaves and stuff. Really, really good stuff, man. Like if you're a guitar player and you're into metal and you have not heard of Protest the Hero, first of all, what the hell's wrong with you? Second of all, check them out because guitar playing wise, I don't know. There's nobody in when they hit their stride. There wasn't a lot of people that could compete with what they were doing. Dragon Force tried to, but they couldn't pull it off live. Whereas I know that Protest could pull off what they were doing on the recording.
I did a couple shows for them in that. It was kind of an interesting thing because I did a show for them at the Vogue Theater in Vancouver. So it was like 1,100 kids there. And it was awesome to see that it was like that third record, I think. So right when it was hot, like super hot, just when there were still places to be played on the radio and much music was still playing videos. It was
before they were opening for us. There's so many, like I think Sum 41 opened for us at one time too, didn't they? Or that's just going on before us.
Let's go share a bill.
Share a stage, but this is just funny.
Sharing a stage at Lee's Palace in Toronto.
Yeah, Sum 41 there too. Yeah, we'll play lots of shows with the Protest though. When they were Protest and Chuck Caliber and Mr. Machete, just as happy-go-lucky. I think we hooked them up with their first real show too, other than a Battle of the Bands. I think I could be wrong.
Kingston at the 477. They
was that? Well, yeah, they did that, but I thought we hooked them up with a dungeon show right after the Battle of the Bands, and I think we paid them and everything, and they wouldn't take the money if I remember correctly. Wow, and we've got some cool memories.
There's some footage there that our fallen brother Zig got, and they're all in the front row.
Yeah.
And
they jumped on the stage at one point. Yeah.
Little Luke and they're all like,
we got them record, and they're on our recording of one of our songs, Smelly. We actually, Brody does the vocals in there, and we do all the other guys bring in gang vocals for Ube, right? That's what they used to call me, Ube.
Well, some people still call you.
Sometimes.
We just shortened it to Weinstock.
It's better than bag of douche.
That's right. Hey, so a few things to get to before we get to Tim.
Are we going to talk about how the fact that I almost coughed on my blue microphone, and we really don't want to do that because our blue microphones are like top shelf.
And they're it'll electrify you.
I know.
It'll come through and it'll take you out.
Well, just the coughing on this such a beautiful instrument right here, right? Like it's awesome. Thank you.
Thanks to our friends at Blue. Thank you.
And cheers to Dean.
Dean, hey, it's working tonight. We're on the Twitter tonight.
Throwing them out there.
We're on the Twitter tonight. It's working on all the channels. So thanks, everybody.
Good.
We had a busy couple of weeks, kind of coming out of the WandaVision madness, settled in a little bit to some music talk over the last couple of weeks. We'll be getting back probably to some more comic talk a little bit more because the Falcon and the Winter Soldier starts this Friday. Chris has got a bit of a breakdown.
Well, yeah. Dude,
what do you think that's going right now?
I'm getting excited. Comic books. So.
Sorry, let me rephrase that. You've got 1 minute.
Oh, man, really?
Yep.
Okay, so in the Winter Soldier, it looks like they're going back to Madripoor, and Madripoor is where Wolverine first started out when he had his patch on. But he had his patch on when he started his own solo comic book. But solo comic book came back in the it was the late 90s, early 90s kind of thing. So when we put that in there, that could be the same place we're going to, which equals that also the Omega Red could be in there as well, which is mutants. And as I said, through the whole thing is that we wanted to have the mutants go through these whole Phase 4 because what they're going to do is Phase 5 is they're going to introduce the mutants. Boom, it's mutants, X-Men, bam.
That was like 45 seconds. Hey, Lachlan Cross, I hope you caught all that.
Did I get it?
That was good. You need to go for a run now or something?
No. See, today's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are pretty busy. I teach 3 days a week, and I just soak myself in coffee and energy drinks.
I was going to ask you about the coffee.
I'm ready to go, man. As I mentioned, dude, I'm not a coffee snob, but I love starting my day with just a nice coffee. There's little sugar, little cream, and I have my CBD oil with it. And then the best days are when you go from that. For me, is when I go from the coffee in the house to a beer on my deck in the summer. Those are the best.
There you go.
But I'm not teaching those days.
We're going to, hey, Lonnie, I was going to ask you, our fearless producer.
Yeah, what's happening?
Did you happen to find a graphic of Metal Edge by chance?
Well, I did movies first, but
it was sort of like one of the things I wanted to touch on. There was a bit of news of the week stuff in the music world. So obviously the Grammys just happened and they gave Eddie Van Halen 15 seconds. So that's got everyone in a bit of an uproar. About
those awards are bullshit anyway, huh? Man.
Well, you know what? They could have at least.
Oh, they should have at least.
They could have at least did something that would have been a little bit more. I heard rumblings that they had Wolfgang to do some stuff, and he didn't do it. So the graphic that you're going to see right now is Metal Edge magazine, which was the biggest. Like, obviously there was like Chris just had a Kerrang magazine. There was Rip.
Yeah.
There was like Hit Parader. There was all these ones, but Metal Edge magazine was formed and run by a woman named Jerry Millar, and she was in all the pictures and all the rest of it. That's the graphic that we have there. But anyone that came through the 80s, that's Kerrang. Yeah. Anyone that came through the 80s would have seen, Metal Edge. And that was kind of where, obviously before the internet, before anything kind of happened, you would get those. This is where you kind of went for at least like it was very hair metal based, but it was
you covered your bedroom in the posters. You'd get
totally. You get the posters and everything.
Ford,
one of the things that I loved that they did, and I know I don't see it now, and the last band to do this was Pearl Jam, but they would do album breakdowns. So you would get, like, for me, where at me, Chris, like I came through that Warrant, Tesla Poison thing out of Metallica. They covered Metallica, but it was like just as Metallica broke on black, or not broke, but did the black thing. You got a bit of Metallica, but it was really heavily Motley. Like there was Motley Crue, Skid Row, all that kind of stuff. But when those bands would put a record out, they would break it out track by track.
Right.
So, and I just remember being so cool that you could read, like, how did they write this record? Like the first Van Hagar record, he broke it down, and like
nice.
Motley Crue, Dr. Feelgood, it was like, this track is this, and this is what we did for Kickstart My Heart. We went to Vancouver and we did that. And it was kind of like an insight into the thing. And she did such an amazing job of, like, I got to think, whether people believe in the Hall of Fame or not, they have a builders section. She has to go in as one of the top journalists in the world as far as importance to a scene, because she single-handedly built that 80s metal scene with that magazine.
She definitely made it look good and sound good, and give you some cool pics that made it look real, like a scene you wanted to be a part of.
But that's how you would find out. That's where you could go in. Remember, they used to have like the mail, like you would have like mailing lists, like join this mailing list or something, and you'd send up a self-posted like envelope, and then the band would send you back like join the Kiss fan page, but you got to send us a thing, and then they send it back. They send it back to you. That's where we went for all that. Like between her and wrestling magazines, that was my 80s. It was like Metal Edge magazine and all the wrestling magazines I could get. Anyway, she sadly passed away, and I think there needs to be a bigger deal made about it. I see Eddie Trunk, and I see some people talking about it today. Sebastian Bach and some of the people that came through that era are definitely paying tribute to her. But listen, got to be said, news of the week musically for somebody like me, that magazine played such a role in introducing me to so many bands, one of which I have on my podcast tomorrow. One of my favorite bands, Tesla.
Oh yeah.
I've got the bass player from Tesla, Brian, on my podcast tomorrow. Full album breakdowns.
Nice.
Everything. That magazine was like everything. And so it's just, I'm happy that we got that in a few weeks ago, but it would have been interesting to get his take on her and Metal Edge and the importance that those magazines played in their role, because it was all about visual back then.
Right. Oh,
MTV,
totally. Well, the image of it, right? Yeah.
So anyways, Jerry Millar, RIP, sad to see you go.
Yeah.
And
but thanks for your contribution to the world of metal.
That's right. And you belong in the Hall of Fame as a builder. So hopefully they'll recognize that.
Yeah.
Chris, it is week 2 of Skeletron.
It is. I was just going to say, call Huey Lewis because I got some news. We got issue 2 of Skeletron is out and available, and I'm getting great reviews on this one. It is getting better. I just like doing it. You know what I mean? But the fact that it's getting great reviews is really heartwarming, especially from the Kingston scene around here, which is great. There's a lot of people I respect that are reading it and sharing it and taking care of it, and you're doing the same thing, and I appreciate that. But as I say, like it's weird because when I was in a band, I always wanted that. Like I want to make a ton of money off this, and I want to be like out playing big shows, and I want to live the life. And I'm doing this comic book, and it's just a world I want to be in. It's such a different vibe and a different motivation for me doing this, and I just love doing it. I find that's what I'm doing all the time. Like I'm either locked in my office drawing the comic book and writing, or I'm teaching. Basically, it's a cool lifestyle. I really enjoy it. The only thing is I'm getting very, you get very secluded in your world of writing a comic because you got to kind of turn your phone off. You just put on something in the background. I like lately it's been the crime documentaries because I can kind of listen to them. You don't really have to watch. Wow, man. It was Evil Genius is a fantastic Netflix true crime drama if you want to check that out. And on the other Call Huey Lewis, there's news. Is I was debating on growing a mustache. I let about 3 days growth go in, and then I kind of let the mustache go, and I showed my wife, and she was like, "Oh God, that's disgusting." And then I went back in the mirror and I looked, and that's a big challenge to be a mustache guy. That's a whole other lifestyle.
But it is a thing right now. It is kind of.
But I don't know if I'm ready for that lifestyle. That whole change in lifestyle of them being a mustache guy. But hey, I know that guy.
Speaking of beards and mustache,
Tim Smile, it's Tim.
Let's get his.
There you go, buddy. There you go. Introduce our friend.
A long time, fellas.
I know, right? I know. I've had so many students that have actually run into you and told me they've seen you and seen your band, but I don't get to see you. But I'm here in Kingston now, and rumor has it that you're booked to play here in the fall, I think.
Okay.
I think it's probably through your booking and everything. But Mark from I Hate Sally is like one of my best friends here, and we play in a band together. So he's been mentioning to me some of the bands. Sloan's coming. I've already booked a show here, and I think you guys have too, man. So I'm going to be able to hang out with you soon, which is good.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I know that we haven't discussed it. Before all of the lockdown, we had tentatively had a tour booked for the fall.
I think that's the one then, buddy. Yeah.
And then we pushed it to 2021, but we haven't officially had the band discussion if we are going to do it or not. So
right on. Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned that.
Well, whatever.
Well, listen, everything's getting rescheduled. I have like 7 tours. That
Mark's not watching. We're good.
I have 7 tours. And yeah, your bandmates are your other bandmate is live right now. You're fully competing with him right now.
Yes.
Rhodey, twitching it up.
Rhodey's
we're
twitching
taking
it up.
Rhodey on. That's it, buddy.
That's where all the viewers are. They're all right here.
Power to Tim.
Hey, buddy, welcome to the podcast. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, I'm going to join the headphone crew.
Sure,
but very good to
jump in
to get reacquainted with you boys. I mentioned to Brent, I've started writing. I don't know what's going to happen with it, but I kind of want to write the PTH story from my perspective. And in the second chapter, I mentioned Mr. Machete.
Is that in the Happy Go Lucky chapter or what, man? Are you gonna because those tracks are like your hidden songs that nobody can find. Do you know how many people contact me, Tim? Oh my God. So you know how many people contact me about that CD? It's crazy. It's crazy, dude.
Do you still have like copies of it or just like
I have the masters, man. I got all the masters from it. Yeah, I do. So we'll have to talk offline here and figure out what you guys want to do with that stuff, buddy. Because I've and even I have access to the masters, like because they were done on tape, right, buddy?
Oh wow, yeah.
So
this is something I want to pick your guys' brains about. I don't know if now's the time to do it or we have to have another check.
We're just talking.
I'm just saying
definitely...
when you have an idea, if you want to release it, we should probably talk after, unless you guys have got an idea what you want to do with it. But because I've got a lot of people asking for it, buddy. But I haven't given it to anybody. I have not given.
Yeah, well,
I gave Rhodey one song.
That's the Kids on Drugs compilation, and you guys are on it. Machete's on it, and Mel's band.
One Star Short.
Right? One Star Short. That's what they were called. Yeah, buddy. And then you guys all we were just talking. You guys all jumped in on that Smelly song we did too, right? And did gang vocals.
Yeah, your fucking band sucks anyway.
Yeah, that's it, buddy. That's it. Good times, right? Even funnier, as I said, my wife's the producer here of the show right beside me. And she always, like when we were traveling and stuff before COVID and talking with people, we'd always share the story when we recorded you guys as Happy Go Lucky. And Lonnie was in the TV room and I'd have to ask her, 2 of the members were like hitting Jeopardy on the TV show with Alex Trebek, like bam, bam. And I remember Lonnie saying, how old are these guys? And like, what school do they go to? They're so freaking smart. Because she's used to like the other guys that we'd hang out who were be drunk by like 12 o'clock, right? And here are you guys coming in, much younger, but still in the family of music that, that we played shows together and everything. And you guys were so smart at such a young age. And my wife was always, that was the one thing that she always clued in with you guys. If whenever your guys' name come up when we were out talking to other people, new people at meetings or parties, whatever. Yeah, and they were so smart. They're so smart. You know what I mean? Because you guys do talk a lot about political stuff. And you did in the past anyway, but you know what you're talking about. Like you've always been smart human beings. And I've always respected that.
Yeah, I think when we were like teenagers, we tried to like use a bunch of big words and we were interested in like learning. And I think academically. We all aimed to do well in school and stuff like that. So that was a value that we kind of all had. But, you know, I'm happy that we had some influences as far as bands where they were about kind of learning and educating yourself and stuff like that. And that definitely was something we tried to do. I think we did try to flex it a little bit in the beginning. And Arif,
I was going to say, yeah,
who isn't in the band anymore, but him and his understanding for literature and writing, and it was always just like he was on another level when it came to that stuff.
Any interview he did was like me talking about comics. It was just like, you know what I mean, going. But a funny thing, Tim, is he taught my daughter at the college or university that he teaches at there, and she went up to him, and she didn't say anything to him until the end of the semester or whatever. And she went up and told him, you know, hey, I'm Chris Machetti's daughter. And he just stepped back in front of everybody, was saying thank you because they're all like worshiping the guy, right? He taught a band program there. Sorry, what school was it?
Sheridan, I think.
Centennial. So
and
the long line of kids going up to and she told him who she was, and he stands back and says, "Your dad is a beautiful human being," and gives her a huge hug. And everybody just, my daughter says there was a hush, like over everybody. It's like, oh my God. So this is what I hear though. And I love that stuff though. You know what I mean? Like I say, like I think my teaching started with hanging out with you guys, man. Like I've just always enjoyed watching talent grow. And you guys are like the essence of that from our area, I would say.
Oh, well, thank you. That means a lot coming from you. And so do you mind if we go back to like that EP Taylor show? It's Band Wars at EP Taylor's.
Oh yeah, I remember. Right Side Stage.
Sponsored by Alcatraz. As far as I know, I think the reason we got on that, there was another band called Alcoholic Tendencies that was a friend of our drummer Mo's. His parents were friends with this guy Dan, who had this band. So I think we were playing with them on the same night, and you guys were the headliner. And I just remember watching you guys play and being like, "What in the world is this? is this heavy metal? Like, what is this?" It's because I was like listening to punk and stuff like that and just blown away. And then I remember chatting with Brent. I think you guys all kind of came over and it was like, "Yeah, I really liked your set," and we're kind of talking to you. And Brent's talking about recording something, and you know, that's kind of my memory of that whole situation.
Yeah, I remember I was standing side stage, like because we were playing the show, and I was staying there with Doug Smart, who was part of Alcatraz, I think, at that time. And he went on to do, he's part of Curse Blessings, I think now, Records. Anyway, him and I were watching you guys, and we just kept hitting each other going, check this out. And it's so cool. See, as I say, like, that was kind of the spur to wanting me to teach. I love seeing younger people dive into the roots of things. And you guys had that punk rock root going on. And as I don't know if a lot of your fans know how punk rock you guys were off the hop, you know what I mean? Arif with his hat on there all the time, right? The thing that I really liked about it was, so you guys had, again, being friends too, you can see that when you play live, but the passion you guys had for the old stuff and bringing it into the spotlight to show it off for everybody, I thought was really, really cool. And the way that everybody followed you around was like, yeah, man, like if this is what these guys are into, then we're going to follow that. I thought that was great. It's cool to see the future ahead of young people like that, from my point of view. You know what I mean?
At that point too, Tim, we were, when you had met us for the first time, we were at the sort of the top of the game at that point too, for us. That was already a few years into what we were doing. So, we were kind of had played with all the bands at that point, had played with kind of everybody locally. We had opened for a shit ton of bands at that point.
And we got in trouble for it too. I don't know if you guys had the same thing, Tim, but you get those good shows and all of a sudden the scene in Oshawa is like, oh, you're not so cool anymore, right? Sorry, Brent, go ahead.
Yeah, it just kind of was like that kind of moment where we were at that top of that game when you guys came along. So we were sort of looking for that next thing. And because all the bands that were kind of playing with us at that time or opening or whatever, it was not what you guys were doing. And even though you got Happy Go Lucky was different than what Protest is now, but the core of what I think Chris touched on is like there was definitely something internally between what you guys were doing. And I think that what I see was that you weren't playing through the motions at that point. It was, you guys were like laser focused on what you were going to do. Because a lot of the other bands are like, you know, just we're going to be a punk band. Or we're going to be this. And you said you were watching us going, is this metal? Is this punk? What is it? It took us a while to kind of get to that point of combining that punk and metal thing that we were doing. But when we saw you guys for the first time, it was like, wait a minute, they've already started their path,
Yeah.
and they haven't really played a show yet.
Yep.
And it was like, we just kind of saw that, and it was awesome to kind of, and they're young.
Well, in a way,
and they're not jaded yet.
no, you the passion on stage, but you were in some ways ahead of a lot of the bands that we've played with for years and years, as far as your tightness and your focus. I think that's the best way to put it, is that your tightness and focus were miles ahead of bands that we've played with for years, and just kind of didn't progress anywhere, and didn't get tighter, didn't get that that arrow. I knew where you guys were going right when I saw you, man.
And it was nice to have someone like you guys come along and be like, hey, we're thinking about doing this thing and we'd like to bring you along. And it's like, we had no idea. Like, anytime we tried to record, we put a computer mic and got sound recorder going and hit record in the middle of our jam space. And it was terrible. So like, to actually have someone that's like, hey, we have some experience, let's bring you along and we'll record a couple songs with you and hang out and whatever. I think that was huge for us, just to see like, okay, this is what a band does. And this is the next step that we're kind of reaching towards.
When did you guys start to actually dive in? Because like the guitar work, as I was mentioning, when a student would finally get to the stage where they could learn protest, I would be happy. But at the same time, it's like, okay, now I got to spend an hour teaching a half-hour lesson, right? Because you're stuck. And especially going from, how do they go from doing a chord to doing the finger tapping? And I'm old school, Tim, so I finger tap with my first finger instead of my middle. So the pick switch is hard, right? And of course, I always, okay, I'm old. I finger tap my first. You can't do that, Chris. I was like, all right, thanks, 12-year-old. You know what I mean? But your guitar work. So when did you come to the point that you thought, okay, when did you get to the point where you thought, wow, we're good guitar players now? Because you must have come to the point where you noticed what you were doing was really rad.
I don't know. I'm a pretty insecure person now. I say I'm probably a worse guitar player now than I have been in the past. I don't know if there was a moment, but I think, just kind of getting recognized as a guitar player. So I don't really think our first release, Calculated Use of Sound, people liked the guitar work, but I think with Keziah and then Fortress, you could see that there was a part of our fan base that were like kind of guitar or musicians that were really gravitating towards it. So maybe at that point, just kind of seeing that, hey, people that are in the guitar community are really kind of getting into this music. I think
sonically, you guys were it got deadly fast.
Yeah.
So because I
went from punk to you guys did that switch really quick, it seemed. That's why I was trying to see if you could pinpoint that moment when you got more metal than punk.
Yeah, like I think as far as like my taste and like what I was playing, like I think the stuff that we recorded, I think I was 13 and listening to a lot of like Offspring, Blink-182, some of the Fat Wreck, Epitaph, all that stuff. And then I think around 14, 15, started listening to like Metallica, Megadeth, and some Dream Theater, some of the progressive stuff. And I think we just really wanted to like incorporate that with still having the speed, because there's some metal, not to say it's not fast, but it's more like heavy and riffy, opposed to like trying to like drive like punk rock. So I think we just really wanted to kind of like show our chops a little bit more and get a little bit more technical. And we just, I don't know if it's because we recorded more professionally or just really put ourselves in a position where we had to get better.
Well, yeah, because if you stop playing punk music and you're playing, if that's the progression, I think, Brandon, is going from punk to metal. Because that's the thing is I found too, is that when I get bored playing guitar in punk songs, it's like, well, got to go to metal, because it's just that aggression. You know what I mean? And it's the natural step, I guess.
And traditionally punk and metal don't get along. So it's interesting to combo the two of them.
Back in the day, they didn't know.
But back in the day.
Yeah. Well, I think
I'm curious about that, because, for us to sit back and watch it, and obviously you guys had sure, the songs were there and the performance was there, but you were part of, this is funny, we're speaking to you like you're old guys now, but you were part of that last group of people that got played on music and got played on, where you can make videos and you can do things and the people could visually see what you were doing. And then sonically it was backing it up. I remember when did I come out? Because I've been in Vancouver since
2005.
Right. So I landed out here in 2005.
Okay.
And I remember when I got that record or heard it and being like, what the fuck?
I know, right? That's what me too. It's like your music, like
how did it get to there was an undeniable moment listening to that going, oh boy, this is gonna go right.
Yeah.
And it was like, did we ever stop at the right time? Like it's just a funny kind of thing because it was just like that wasn't obviously our genre or where we went. We tried to do the punk metal combo, but what I'm saying is like where was the moment in that Kazai moment where you guys were like,
we got something here.
We got something here.
We've
there had to have been a
arrived.
moment.
Yeah.
Because
I don't.
Blood Meat 2 had that giant hook up the middle,
Dude.
right? Just with the girl. Was it one with the girl?
No, that's
not
Hair
on
Trigger,
Blood Meat.
man. Hair Trigger's my favorite video
but
you
Blood
guys
Meat had
have.
that. Yeah. There was this giant hook up the middle of that song, and I was like, well, they learned a little something playing out there with the rest of us pop kind of punky bands.
Oh,
you got to keep that hook in there, and I just thought it was great.
I think what's interesting about there's been a lot of people talking about like the history of like punk and like a lot of like the 2000 era, like Fat Wreck, bands like Propagandhi, Strung Out, Lagwagon, Pennywise, all of that. The thing I never really clued into is it was kind of branded as punk rock, but it's like all of those players were like metal people trying to play punk. And that's where that kind of skate punk genre, it's very metallic. And that's something that I didn't pick up on as a kid because I was like, oh, this is just punk. But then it's like you find out all the influences for those bands. A lot of it is like thrash and that stuff. So it's like we were getting our metal secondhand. So I think it just kind of fused in. And then as we kind of got into more, technical things like Dillinger Escape Plan, or bands like that, I think we kind of just fused the two together and it came out how it was. I think the other thing I'll say is we were kind of lucky that we were playing a genre that was kind of becoming, mainstream with like the screamo and like Alexis on Fire. And it's like, it was kind of cool that we were the same age as a lot of the fans. So it's like, we were the high school kids and we were kind of seeing that like, this is popular. And it's like, it was just interesting to like, not be like, in your 20s or early 30s being like, we're trying to appeal to the high school. It's like we were in high school appealing to the high schoolers.
Yeah, dude.
And it just, everything kind of aligned to just work out that way, I think.
Was it Underground Operations?
Yeah.
That started?
Yeah.
Right? It was Underground, right? And then it kind of went from there.
Closet Monster, man. That's again. I remember
too.
playing shows with Closet Monster here in Kingston, man. Having such a good time. Really good time.
Yeah, and that was like another situation exactly like what happened with us, where it's like we play a show, a guy comes up to us after and is like, hey, I'm starting a label. I want to record some songs. I want you to record with me. And it's just like, I'm very grateful for people like you and for people like London who just like saw something and were like, I can help you guys make a step.
Another passionate guy with music, right?
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah, I can remember playing a show with London, and when we first showed up, we were doing a bunch of shows with them, and he kind of was looking. Oh, there you are. Okay, and he gave me a CD, and he goes, "No, I want you to have this." I was like, "Oh, I don't really have any money." I was doing the whole pat in my pockets thing, like, and he's, no, I want you to have this, and I was like, "Thanks, buddy." And I listened, and it was just like, "Wow, this is so good." I was just like, he needed me to hear it, right? And I was like, "Okay, buddy, I get it. Focus in your music, maybe Mr. Machete there, you'll loop it." But yeah, really great guy. Because it's cool when you meet people that will help you along the way, because there's so many, as I just kind of touched on, and we talked about this with who are we talking with last week? Boneless and Gary Begner from Lame, right? And when Lame got popular, they left Oshawa and went out and did huge tours and stuff, and came back, and then everybody hated them, right? Because oh wow, well they would, you guys are too big for Oshawa now, and it's just the scene in there gets. So we were at that point too, where a lot of people were turning on us, and it was really nice to see, the innocence in you guys coming up as well. And again, it's a weird thing with me is that teacher that I didn't know was coming out. You know what I mean? It's like, because that's like what I'm most known for now is my legendary HM music school. Right? You know what I mean? And it's been fun. But the kids, man, I just try and keep rock and roll and metal alive with them and give them fun. But the best is when they can say, I want to see protests here. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's like, well, just maybe mention that, Chris, and maybe they'll be nice to you. And there was so many times that you guys have reached over the table and hugged my students, like seriously. And I could tell when they come back in their eyes, it'd be like, it's like you met them. It's like, well, I was in the line and they hugged me, and I was like, oh, they stopped the line, and how's Chris doing? That's so cool. Like that's really awesome. You know what I mean? So being my main gig, being a teacher kind of thing, watching, I didn't know it back then, but did you know that was what you wanted to do when you played that first EP Taylor show that I watched?
What, that I wanted to do music?
Yes.
Honestly, it's always been just like a hobby. I guess that's kind of bull. That's kind of bull. Like as you kind of get older, you're like, well, I have to make a living doing this. But always the intentions were just to like keep doing shows and keep playing and keep enjoying ourselves. And it's like, there wasn't really aspirations of like, well, I hope I'm playing in a stadium and doing that. And
you never thought about that, huh?
Yeah, I'm sure at some point, like,
but it wasn't your drive. It wasn't your like.
Yeah. And I feel like that was kind of the punk attitude too. It wasn't like for like glamour and glory. It was just more to like keep doing it and keep grinding it out. And
plus we were in Oshawa scene, right? So you can't, you gotta keep your head down. You gotta, don't say the wrong thing in Oshawa.
It's hard to walk around with a big head.
Who stamped the card? Who stamped the protest card and put you to that moment? Obviously Underground was a thing, but when you played, there had to have been a show that you played with somebody or somebody you looked up to, and stamped the protest card and said, you're in the club now. Like, you're just so good. Like, you're good. We get it. You're headlining shows in Europe now, or, you're doing these shows. I mean, I did a show with you guys in Vancouver and years ago at the Vogue. And I was like, tear in my eye watching you guys headline this Vogue show, being like, look at these guys just slay it. It was there had to have been a moment for you guys where somebody kind of stamped the protest card where you kind of were like, yeah, it's happening.
Yeah. Like nothing happened like very quickly overnight. It was all kind of like this like slow burn. I don't know if that's the right term, but yeah, it was like just steady growth. I don't know. There was definitely moments where it's like we played with a lot of bands that I really looked up to, and like thinking of, that Kazaya release. And for that record, we were on tour with Death by Stereo, who I was a huge fan of. And I remember we played Toronto at the Cathedral, and I think it was Ephraim Schultz, the singer, just came up to me. He's like, "This is your night. It's our tour. We're the headliner, but this is your night." Wow. And he just like made it clear. And it was just like, that was a big moment for me, because I was just like, I don't know, how old have I been? 14?
Wow.
No, something. Oh, no, I'd be older than that.
Sorry. Were you driving yet? Or did you have your license?
No, I was like 18 or 19. But, someone like that who's in his 30s and is a road dog, just saying that to you, I think that was big for me. I don't know. I guess it's more now reflecting on, being at a European festival and looking out to thousands of people and being like, holy shit, how did I get here? But it's never been like, this is the show. There's always been these like little things that are part of this is happening. Right. But it always continues to kind of happen.
Like any great story, my friend, it's not whammo, you got the build
we're
up.
Still writing it, right?
You guys aren't done yet, man. You're far from done. I'm going to see you in Kingston at the end of the year. I'm going to see you here at the end of the year. I'm sure I am.
Right, fingers crossed.
I sure am.
Chris,
it's
shout out time for 1 second. We got Darren, Mr. D from the Salads checking in, saying hi to us.
Oh, right on.
Hello.
And we also have Mike Bryant.
Mike Bryant, hello. Taylor Toombs, hello. Alex Machete, little rat Alex saying hello. Louise Krushank saying hello. We got about a few people.
Holy Tim, this is the most shout outs we've had, man. Good job.
Wow.
That's right.
The Salads, I haven't heard that name in a while, but that was definitely a pretty cool Canadian band or Ontario band. Yeah. I think we played with them a few times, and I remember a friend played with them for a short while. I think Legs Leger, a Cornwall boy, but I remember there was some riffs going on there. I think I remember
their playing last like record. Deadly, man. I toured with that.
Yeah, he's a really good guitar player. He went to that school though, right? He went to what's that school in California? GIT?
GIT, yeah, the Institute or MI.
Yeah, whatever the Guitar Institute or something. Yeah. I think he's a teacher.
Big Eddie guy. Big Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah, big Eddie Van Halen fan. So, They did a great cover of Huffer Teacher when we played shows.
Great
Yeah.
band. I had a lot of fun with those guys out there.
Nice.
Tim, Juno nomination.
Yeah. Holy crap. Congratulations, my friend.
Hold on. Right here.
Oh, look at that.
That's the first one, right? Let's
That's
see.
the first one. So I don't know
Hold that up to the
I don't
camera.
know if I have room for another one.
Hold that up to the.
Yeah, let's see that again, buddy. That's
I'm
not
not
something to be
strong
super
enough.
proud of.
This was what year? This was
buddy.
2014.
2014.
Yeah. What was
Good
the
for you,
what was
man.
the award? What'd you win for that year?
That was for Volition, Metal Hard Music Album of the Year.
Awesome. Well, that'd be nice to make it too, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I always thought that would be a good weapon if anyone
Broke into your house.
Maybe I should have it up in the bedroom and not on my.
You guys are up for
What a
artwork
story
this
that would
year,
be too, man.
Chris will love. You guys are up for artwork. as
Yeah,
well
that was
this year.
sweet. That's sweet.
Yeah. No, I think it was. I forgot we submitted for that. So my daughter and I were watching the live stream and we got the nomination. We're jumping around and just like close it down, be like, whatever. And they're like, oh, you got two.
Whoa.
Where I have a hard time taking any personal credit, but Luke definitely quarterbacked that and found an amazing artist. And then our friend John Malash, who does a lot of layout stuff, did all the layout stuff. So,
Nice.
it's awesome that they got recognized. And I'll say we, the collective we, but I definitely was just like, looks good, man. Way to go.
Yeah. No, it's especially. So, are you guys performing at the show or?
No,
are they even doing
they're doing something virtual. It sounds like artists are performing in venues around the country.
Oh.
So I would imagine all of that's worked out. I wanted to pester a few people, being like, "Hey, include metal in this. We'd love to present or do something or just whatever." But we'll see. I know
it would be great if they actually paid attention to that side of it, because a lot of the metal and tech awards get presented the day before, and it's like in a little convention space, and it's like, sure, that's great, but and then it's all the rest of it's saved for Jesse Reyes and the pop kids and stuff, and I get it, but because from the standpoint of like, I don't agree with it, but I am, they're trying to jam they're just trying to make it a show. It would be awesome to have you guys perform like fully, with the opera house or something, and just slay it down, or I don't know. It would be great, but I don't know if that's.
Yeah, no, it's definitely tough. And then I think like they usually do that gala, which the gala is really nice, if you go in person, and I think they probably stream it because you get to go have dinner and it's fun. But it's like when they do the actual award show in between awards or going to commercial, they just go, here's this one, here's this one, here's this one. And I'm sure of the however many awards, there's probably like 50% of them that are like that. So it's like classical music and jazz and instrumental and kids and all that stuff is in the same boat, right? So it's like, who's to say metal should have more recognition than classical album or modern jazz record or stuff like that, right? So everyone's fighting for that spotlight, I think. So, but yeah, it would be nice to kind of be more inclusive.
The other bands that you're up against?
Annihilator's in there. I know that. I think that's
Annihilator,
your biggest competition, isn't it? Or no?
Yeah.
Or am I just really old?
Well, to be honest, I did this last year too because I was curious, but I made a playlist on Spotify of the 2021 and I've been listening to it. But the Unleash the Archers record is phenomenal.
Oh, is it?
They weren't on my radar at all, but I'm really happy I discovered them now. And that would
have been interesting because if none of this had happened, you guys might have shared a bill this year somewhere.
Yeah.
New records. They're having a new record, agents love to put that shit together, and it probably would have been a big tour. So it's a bit of a shame that there's a lot of bands. I think there's a lot of bands that would have broke in the last year and a half, or last year especially, that didn't get a chance to break because of everything that's going on.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
Cataclysm's also in there, and you said Annihilator, and there's one I think it's called Vile Creature, which is more kind of like black metal-y.
A little doomy, huh?
Yeah, it's cool. But the thing I also liked is there's two females in the nominations where it's like, I know metal is a white male.
Unfortunately, right?
Form of music, and it's like it needs to start getting more diverse. And it's nice to see some women recognized, and hopefully there can be some people BIPOC in there as well, and just people of different genders or identities and stuff like that, because, you know, that's one thing that I don't know how I change that. I can start engaging with people that aren't the typical metal, but a metal looking fan or musician. But when I stand on stage and look out, that's kind of what I see is young white men. And we want it to be more diverse, because it just becomes this kind of like macho culture sometimes, which
needs to change.
Yeah. I
can remember many times I've been to shows and I've really liked the band, and then I see the way the crowd reacts, and I'm like, oh, I don't like this band anymore. You know what I mean? I'm thinking of a different band, but anyway, I big fan of the band. Went to the show, and it was like their fans were it was like a sports hunting crowd kind of, and I never even saw that coming. So all the guys were like, you know, and it was a bad crowd. Didn't like that. So that's really cool that you say that. A lot of people should step up for that kind of thing. Is there any female fronted bands or any bands that have females in them that you can think of that you want to promote a bit?
Well, I think the singer from Unleash the Archers sounds it is a female. I don't know much about the makeup of the band.
Right.
I'm a big fan of the punk band War on Women, and I believe it's 2 or 3 women, and then there's 2 males, but they're super feminine but super angry, but
nice,
amazing. In punk and metal, that's 2 I can think of off the top of my head.
Remember Fuck the Facts?
Yeah.
There was that little girl singer in there, and she was just like, she was just give her. I don't know if you remember her or not. She's right from we always played with them in the Kingston area, but she was just this tiny little girl, and we'd hang out after in Kingston. I always loved Kingston before I moved here, right? Whenever we played shows here, we'd hang out and party. But I remember seeing her after the show that we played with her and trying to talk about her with Slayer, and she was Slayer. Like that wasn't heavy enough for her, right? It's just I was like, oh my God. And she was totally schooling. I think it was me and Mel was just schooling us on metal. But we were like loving it. It was like, oh, that's awesome. Right on.
Yeah.
So who should we be listening to, right? She's like, telling it was really cool.
Dee from I Hate Sally, she was in there for a while, right?
She's my neighbor. She lives right up the street from me.
Wow. Well, say hello to her.
I definitely will, my
friend. She was
a
darling.
She comes by here all the time. We hang out, man. Yeah, she's
that's awesome.
Just 2 streets up the road, buddy. Yeah, it's amazing.
Wow.
It's amazing, yeah. And also, the bass player from Moist is just around the corner as well, Jeff, and I teach his son art lessons. So,
okay,
Kingston's great, dude. It's so relaxed here, Tim. Like I was in Port Perry before. Remember that little town? And and talk about it was small, and plus my wife's not white, so that made it a little tricky there at times too. But to come to Kingston. It is great. It's amazing. And you know how many people told me, oh, how can you leave Port Perry? You don't leave Port Perry. Even Brent was like, oh, I don't know, dude. My lawyer who helped with the house moving, and okay, now that we're done, what the hell are you doing? But you know what, man? You surround yourself by the right people, and you can survive and thrive. And that's one of the things, again, is I think you guys did, is you had this core of friends from, when did you guys meet? Like, at what age were you when you first met? Were you in diapers kind of thing? Or
So Mo, our drummer, he moved from Edmonton to Whitby and joined my kindergarten class, and I was assigned to show him around.
Oh my gosh.
And then he lived on the same street as Luke, so him and Luke became friends. So I think I met Luke in like grade 1. I feel like I met Rhodey in grade 3 or 4.
It's amazing.
So it's like, it's a blessing and a curse, because we have resentments from like, remember that time in grade 4 when I stopped talking to you, and I was taking a tally of how many times you swore, and
that song's about me, isn't it, you bastard? I remember that in grade 6 when you stole my sandwich.
So we have a lot of history, but it's like you can't, fake that bond of like how well we know each other.
Dude, it showed in the band, as I say, when you guys were young, that tightness. You guys had that tightness and the vision that bands that played for years didn't have, which was right. So you guys, you guys have been together for a long time. Now, how many original members are still in there? There's 3 of you guys still?
Yeah, there's 3 left, Rhodey, Luke, and myself. Yeah. We have a drummer who's been with us for 7 years, Mike.
Oh, wow.
Who he played in another band called Today I Caught the Plague, and we had toured together, and we loved him. And he's just a beautiful person. Mm-hmm. And then we don't have a permanent bass player. Cam, who's started as a merch guy, then was a light guy.
Wow.
Then started doing sound, then played bass, and now does sound for us from time to time.
Wait, what's his name?
Didn't he produce a record? Didn't he produce a song?
Yeah, he engineered Volition.
What's his name though?
Cam McClellan.
Cam McClellan, dude. Cheers, buddy. Way to go! I see. I love those kind of stories, right? That is, that's awesome. Way to go, Cam.
But so yeah, he's helped out with some of the bass. He played bass on Palimpsest.
Wow.
But he doesn't want to be a full-time member, so it's kind of that. So
really, okay.
We've had some live bassists, and so we're happy to be a 4-piece right now and figure out the bass thing for the time being.
Mm-hmm. And you got new music coming out?
You got time.
Yeah. So you have another band though, don't you, as well?
Well, I just started a band. I feel like I was kind of peer pressured into it.
Oh no.
No, not really, but this fella Chris, he has a podcast called That One Time on Tour, and he was interviewing a bunch of like my favorite punk heroes. And I started listening to his podcast, and I sent him an email. I was like, "Hey, I'd love to come on the show. I saw you had roadie, blah blah blah." And then he hits me up. He's like, "Hey, do you want to play on this song?" And I was like, "Sure." And then one day I was listening to his podcast. He's like, "Yeah, so I got a new band going." I was like, "We're in a band now?"
Oh, what? Because I went to your Facebook page and it was like a lot of the promo for that on there. So I was just checking that out.
Yeah, he's a social media wizard.
Apparently, nice, right on.
But there's a lot of hype right now. But we do have 2-song 7-inch coming out in May.
Okay.
And a song coming out in April. And yeah, it's more of like a pop punk thing, and the band's called Fire Sale. But yeah, it's been cool. It's been like, we call it a bandemic. None of us have, or I don't think any of us have met each other, and we just have a chat, and we've Zoomed once, and we're just writing some music together. So
awesome.
I actually just added it. So there you go.
There you go. It's in there.
I don't want to I think Chris wants me to play more guitar, and I want to play more piano.
Oh, cool. How long have you been playing piano for? Was that before guitar, or is that something you picked up?
Yeah, I started when I was 5, and I did conservatory.
Oh, good for you. And how far did you go, buddy?
I got my grade 8. That was the deal.
Right.
And I got my grade 8 when I was in grade 8.
That's
and I was
tough, man.
I'm out. I'm playing guitar because it's cool.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you paid your dues.
Yeah, but I'm very thankful because I love playing
Right?
piano now.
Yeah.
My brother and sister, they both went further than me. I think they got their grade 10, so they're amazing.
Well, that I know. I started conservatory with guitar, and I was just, as a little guy, and my guitar was bigger than me, and I was just, wow. Yeah. And then I met the guy with the long hair, because I'm a little older with the hairspray. And was like, "Hey, dude, you want to play some Van Halen?" I was like, "Yeah, please," and it went from there. But yeah, dude, that's good. You could stick it out with the conservatory. I teach a little bit of piano, but it's just like Gowan and like the national anthem to little kids and stuff. Because there's my neighborhood here, as I mentioned, is just so amazing. I don't want to turn them down. It's like, I could teach you how to play some piano stuff, but I'm not really. It's more keyboard. Oh, that's great, Chris. That's great. So it's just, and that little kid, I just love seeing little music and little kids. To me, is a combination that really gives them confidence, and sometimes it's their thing, right? So I like to help people with that. It's good stuff. Yeah. What was your favorite?
You're a relative, you're off the social thing for the most part. Like, you got a pretty low profile compared.
Oh, do you really?
So yeah, I got rid of all of my social media about 3 years ago. I just was didn't want to deal with it. Felt like it was affecting me mentally. And now I feel like I'm in a way better place, and I'm starting to get back on the train. I just got an Instagram on the weekend and recorded myself playing Back in Black and made a video. So I think I'm ready to kind of engage a little bit more.
I put my daughter through college teaching that song, Tim. That's how many times I've taught that. Do you have a TikTok yet?
No, I want to get a TikTok.
They're actually funny, man. Yeah.
My wife has it, and she always is just showing me a bunch of stuff. But I feel like, as far as promoting yourself for music, that's probably the best place to start, because it's just kind of built on videos and people sharing and using music. And I write stuff that's maybe 30 seconds or a minute. I just throw it up there and then see if someone does something funny over it or whatever. So
TikTok's the new record label, buddy.
No, exactly.
Is it really? Wow, I didn't know it was that.
It really is. It's really the new. Wow. That's where everyone's breaking. It's very
Yeah,
interesting.
so maybe I'll skip, like, I got on Facebook, like I set up LinkedIn when I set up my started my new business, because I felt like that was the professional thing to do.
Mhm.
And then I got back on Facebook, and I just feel like I don't even look at it very often because
Yeah, Facebook's
I
a
don't know.
weird one. So many opinions on there, right? It's funny too because I don't know if you knew my wife. Excuse me. A good story is she had cancer for a while there. She had lung cancer and she survived it.
Okay. Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, but we both went through, and that's and it was super hard on her. It was 3 years of battle, and she's so strong, right? She beat it. But the mental stress on me, kind of, bringing her through that, or helping her through that. All the power to her. I'm just saying, like, the mental stress of it. I was the same way. It's like, wow, I can't take all these opinions and I had to kind of shut down from everything there, for a while. But in mental health kind of thing, I went and I talked to somebody about it, and I did get some
Mm.
help, and it was great. It was great. But that trauma in my life and mixing internet media, wow, no, I don't like it. Did you have trauma at that time, or was it just sick of it kind of thing?
Yeah, I would definitely say I had trauma.
Did you?
Just to your point, I think if when you're dealing with like life and death
Mhm.
and seeing it that closely, um, someone bitching about like some stupid opinion, it just like
Yeah. Or
you
pictures of
it
like hunters, and it pops up and you see them with a deer hanging. You're like, oh, that's what I want to see right now. On my, it's like, yeah.
yeah,
So
it
you get to
just
that
makes
point.
you kind of question me like, should I be spending time reading this thread of people arguing back and forth, or should I be kind of living my life? But
Yeah.
no, definitely, I have a lot of trauma in my life that I'm learning about through therapy and group therapy. And I had a manic episode in about, I think, 2012 or 2013.
Mhm.
And that's when I got diagnosed with bipolar 1 disorder. So I've been dealing with that. I was hospitalized for a week. So there was even trauma during that hospitalization and that whole experience. But
Wow.
since then, I've been relatively stable. It's still a work in progress. It doesn't end, but I'm very thankful to have a really good team and a really good program, and am constantly working on it and tweaking stuff, and just doing my best and
Good for
trying to
you, buddy.
be gentle on myself, because I think that's the thing. When it's like, if I'm down and don't want to do anything, then I'll be like, well, you should be doing this, and we're like, why don't you just take the day off? Or if I'm like super hyper, or like, when I get elevated, I like just I'm not as careful as I'd normally be. So it's like I make a mistake or I drop a cup and it breaks, and I'm just like, well, it's because you're this way and you can't do anything. And then I don't always realize that everyone has like good days and bad days and makes mistakes. And, so it's important just to be like kind and remind yourself that it's okay to not be perfect.
Work in progress, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect, man.
And listen,
Yeah.
dude, like you started in EP Taylor's in Durham College, and then went on to other things. You guys have stuck to what it is that you've stuck the core, stuck together here. You got your bros. Like, I mean, Chris and I are still together doing
Hmm.
something different, not making music, but we're still like the core is there of what you're
Mhm.
doing. You've won a Juno, which, well, awards mean whatever they're going to mean, but what it
Hmm.
definitely does is it puts your body of work into perspective, because there was this many metal records, but those 5 were recognized, and now you're up against it again, which is great. And I just think that, like, hopefully all that helps contribute to the fact that I think you're doing it right, and I think you got a great support team. We're super stoked for you. We've been
Well,
a big
if it
avid
helps, dude,
supporter of you guys, man.
when I
You've
was
been a big
teaching with
supporter.
lots of students, dude, you guys were like, because I don't teach lots of students anymore. That was another thing that was mentally killing me, was all these different personalities coming in and just running a business of.
Mm.
But man, so many kids you made happy, brother. So many kids. Like,
Yeah.
you've made
Music
like
does that, doesn't it? Doesn't music do
tons,
that?
man. But I hear what
Yeah.
you're saying. It's like, I got to keep it. There's so much more I need to, and you can't stop and reflect on and be comfortable with something you've already done. That's myself. It's like, oh, I got to do something. I find myself pacing the house sometimes, and I'll walk around the
Yeah.
house and I'll look out a window and I'll sit down at my drawing table. I'll put on Bob's Burgers or something, and I'll walk around the house and look. I got a forest out behind me, and it's so hypnotizing, Tim. It's beautiful, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, there's a squirrel. I'll throw a peanut to him. You know what I mean? Like, I have the ADD where I'm just like distracted by crazy little. I have a bad focus problem.
Yeah, sure.
And I found that a CBD oils help me with that. But it's there's other things that I've talked to serious people about that Kingston has helped me out with. That's poor Perry was like, oh, you're just having trouble adulting. And then I was in the and then I was in the hospital for what was I in the hospital for? Pancreatitis, because I was working 7 days a week and eating my dinner at 12 o'clock at night. Yeah, and drinking on an empty stomach. But of course, you have trouble adulting. Kingston here, Tim. Man, they sat me down like once a week and talked to me and found out what was going on. Right? It's not a weakness, man. Like people need to know that
for sure. And I think like I look at it sometimes as a superpower. Like I was feeling a little bit high this weekend, not from drugs, just naturally.
Oh, that's
and
okay.
I ripped apart my basement and completely reorganized it and was like, go, 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 go. And it's like, nice. Now I've created a workspace for myself that like serves me a lot better than like what I was in.
Yeah, dude, take advantage of the time where you got the gift of doing stuff, but when you got nothing going on, man, like just chill. And I know that's hard, like, right? Like, don't just chill.
Sure.
It's when somebody says, just relax, Tim. Stop thinking about it, right? You can't do that.
Totally.
So here's my question. You know what used to drive me nuts, Tim, was showing up at these shows like 4 hours before they started and sitting and waiting for the show to start. Did that bother you at all or no?
Yeah, it's hard to like sit around. And
I know that the next one's the same thing, right? Like, I'm sorry, I didn't lay it all out. So you sit there and you wait, but you know that you've got 3 more, 4 more, 10 more nights of doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's the hard part. The easy part's playing the show. The hard part's getting to the show and waiting and like, staying sane and all that. I was always very involved in like management stuff and working, and I've taken some courses online and stuff like that. So I always like anytime I was at the venue, I'd always just like crack open my computer, set up my desk for that day. And I'd always have, a couple hours of things that would need to kind of be attended to. Nice. And then try to take advantage of wherever you are, even usually you're in the wrong part of town. But go for a run, go for a walk, go meet a friend, whatever it is. I think I usually try to stay pretty busy and, hopefully you're not too hungover sometimes.
Yeah. Right.
Some people like, not to judge or whatever, but I know some people that like got in the routine of like going to bed at like 6 a.m. and then they wake up and it's sound check and then you only have to wait a few hours and then you, so it's like the waits after the show. But I'm always like, especially now, like after the show, I have a shower, get my stuff and get into bed as soon as I can. And I try to be up earlier than kind of stay up all night and then wake up.
Yeah, I changed it a couple of years ago too. Well,
nice.
Yeah,
nice.
It'll get a hold of you if you're not careful.
Yeah. Oh, I hated waiting before, dude. The wait before shows was what got me. I remember sitting in a van and wanting to like jump out, like just I had to physically like stop myself from jumping out because I was envisioning, okay, after this show, I'm getting back in this van. And there was like, and that was Caliber, so there was like 6 of us, and we're just like, oh, it sucked, dude. It sucks so bad. And I remember like just wanting to. The shows were great. Everything else about it, I hated beer, because it just got to that point where I hated everything about it. Yeah, and that added to the anxiety, the waiting, right? And I find now if I'm waiting for a student to show up, I'm kind of like get that little bit of PST or what do they call that, post-traumatic syndrome there? Yeah, PTS.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I think that's the thing, and that's like. I feel like the industry we're in, it normalizes a lot of alcohol and drug abuse and other addictions. And, those are the times to act on them. And, myself and others, I've watched people, they don't know what to do and they're bored and they have that anxiety, and having a drink or smoking a joint or whatever it is, it's like that brings you back down a little bit. And, it might help in the moment, but usually long term, it can lead to like habit forming things that cause stress in your life, right?
Well, you get off the road and it's like, where's my beer, right? I remember being like that. It's like, because we were a lower tier than you guys, right? So we'd show up for shows and they'd be like, well, we can't pay you, but you can have all the draft you can drink. And it's like, oh.
Well, exactly. That's the thing. It's like part of what your payment is. And especially when you're younger is like getting a case of beer and a bottle of liquor or whatever. And it's like the funny thing too, like in reflection is that looking back is like our booking agent was like booking us and our rider had booze on it and we were underage. And it's like, what are the ethics there? I remember we played a show with Korn and Limp Bizkit.
Whoa.
When we were 16 or 17.
I remember. Didn't you guys get, okay, go.
I feel like, I don't know if I can ever prove this, but I feel like I looked at the schedule and it said the bands like Korn, Limp Bizkit, there was like a side project, and then it said Nickelback, and it was scratched out, and then it said Protest the Hero. I don't know how to validate that.
That's awesome.
But anyways, so we got a show, and we got drunk. I gave my backstage pass away. So woman ran back there, and then they linked it back to us, kicked us out. But all that to say
that there you go. I knew you got kicked out.
Why was Clear Channel giving 17-year-olds a bottle of vodka?
Yeah.
And not to get anyone in trouble, but I just think it was interesting that people were kind of enabling that, and maybe I have different opinions on when you should be drinking, but sometimes
producers nodding along with you, my friend. Yep.
Yeah. And sometimes they didn't. There was instances where we were legal drinking age in Canada, and you go down in the States and you're underage and you're getting X's on your hands and whatever. People can get stuff if they need it.
But if they're going to get you all drunk and you're underage, you're going to do something that's going to that's going to get you kicked out. They should be ready. If they're going to give you booze, they should be prepared to deal with the consequences of giving you booze, I guess, right?
Yeah, totally. And it ended up not being we were told that we were blacklisted and whatever.
Oh yeah. There were so many rumors about that too. Like there was the Fred Durst fight, and Rhodey got in a fight with. I think it was Rhodey got in a fight with Fred Durst. That was the best story I heard about that. And I was saying, well, Rhodey must have kicked his ass, because that guy.
Yeah.
But, so here's a question I got. Now, one of my students told me this, who's a huge fan of yours. His name was Sean Lloyd. He lives in Toronto now. He's met you. I don't expect you to remember him, but he's met you guys numerous times. Hair Trigger video. Did you guys just have like $200 went to a dollar store and filmed that video? So
that's the one, like, we're go-karting and
yeah, dude, my favorite video. Like, I love that video, and the song's amazing too. But
that was definitely, I think it was a video grant, so it was more than $200. But
so that's not true. That you just had money left over from whatever funding you had, and you just went to the dollar store and grabbed some stuff and pulled that off.
Hold on. Can I pull it up here and just to look at it?
Yeah.
I remember we rented roller skates. We were playing roller skates. Rhodey was go-karting.
Yeah. You went to a soccer field, and Rhodey had that tiny little shirt on there, and the girl's in there that sings a bit, and she was making it with Luke.
Oh no, that was Luke's girlfriend.
Okay, that's a different girl that was singing then.
But then Jada has like the flag. Yeah, that's all down by the Sound Academy. Or whatever it's called now.
Yeah.
There's a little go-karting track down there.
Yeah, man.
But that was like not a high budget video, but it was probably $10,000 or $20,000.
Whoa! Oh my God, that's hilarious. So the total. So this is news to you. So the rumor about that video is that you guys, this is your last single from the album. Blah blah blah. This is all the money you had left to do. So you just went to the dollar store and you bought like all this stuff, and a shirt that didn't fit, and you went out and you filmed a video. Isn't that awesome? That's the urban legend from that video, my friend.
Oh really?
Yep.
Oh, I forgot. There's Luke smooching his girlfriend.
There you go. Yeah, because there's a big smooch scene in there.
RF smooching his dog. And then Jada, she's singing.
There's a great wipeout. There's a great wipeout that either you or Luke do into the drum kit right off the beginning.
Someone falls.
Is it Luke or is it you? You slide right into the drum kit.
Okay, we're just rocking out here.
You're walking down the road together off the very beginning.
Okay, yeah, I'm watching it.
Doing soccer kicks.
We're just there, yeah, Luke.
Does it look at that? And then they kind of digitally it, right? Yeah.
It's funny, but for sure, it's funny that like I don't know if they're giving as much grant money for videos, but it's like we'd often get approved for like $20,000 to make a video, and like you could do it much cheaper, but like you turn it over to a production company, and like okay, you get a few people shooting, a whole crew, catering, the works, and it's like it probably was kind of a waste of money, but.
What about the one you did on that big cruise ship thingy there? You're all with all the matching outfits.
Limb from limb.
Oh my gosh. What did that cost? Like that?
They were all around the same.
Oh my gosh. That cost the same amount as Hair Trigger. It's
amazing what they can do.
That's hilarious, buddy. I love Hair Trigger.
Amazing what they can do.
Like that video is just, that makes me smile. I just watch it sometimes to smile.
I think that was one of my favorites, the Limb from Limb one with the Village People. Like we were trying to figure out what to do, and Luke just sent an email with an In the Navy video for the Village people is like, we have to just recreate this.
That's
and like, but
hilarious.
that video, like we got a choreographer, we took dance lessons, we hired dancers. It was like,
dude, big production, right?
yeah. So I miss those days just for like, you know, creating visual art like that and, you know, to go along with the music.
Awesome, buddy. Well, you guys are all super creative. You know what I mean? That's really cool. Yeah. See, I'm smiling now thinking about the hair trigger video, man. It's just so great. And that was if I was introducing another tier in guitar playing, that was the video that I would show the kids because they'd be like, "Oh my god!" They just laugh at it. I think it's hilarious, right? And then then Blood Meat, and they'd be like, "Whoa, no way!" Oh, you know what I mean? Serious, holy cow! Rad stuff, rad stuff.
Totally.
Buddy, thanks for joining us this week, man.
Yeah,
awesome.
no,
Looking forward. You got the book coming out. You're writing a book. You're thinking about writing a book and doing a thing. So
I haven't said too much about it, but yeah,
sure.
I want to write. I think I tried to send you something and I sent you the wrong link, Brent, but I would definitely appreciate your guys' like input and memories on that to kind of shape
100%
that.
Anything that we can do to help.
But I did mention, Brent, I said, this guy that we met when we were 13, it's like, I remember playing a show and he was the promoter and just being like, this guy's still here. So it's like, don't burn bridges. And it's like all the people here you're going to see them again, you know?
And I'm teaching, I'm keeping the word going for you guys. The younger generations come up now, like guitar, protest. But you're totally right, man. Yeah.
And it's like, it's not, don't be a nice person because you want to get something out of it. But it's just like in the Canadian music industry and in the music industry, people tend to kind of stay in it and you'll continue to cross paths here and there and everywhere. And it's like, you know, it's just better to be kind and be a good person.
It's a lifestyle, right? Like you get that music bug, man. That's why I was wondering if you wanted to be a musician when you were just really, really little, because it does grab you. I feel it chooses you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd ask you to share your socials, but you're not really on any. So
no, I'll share my Instagram. I just got at Tim Mac Millar PTH.
I'm number 4.
Tim Mac Millar PTH. Is that it?
Yeah, Mac Millar, MacMillar.
Right, Miller, not like Miller, Frank Miller, the comic artist, more like Mike Miller,
dead rapper,
the author.
Or the dead rapper.
Oh, is there a rap?
Yeah,
I don't listen to rap. I don't know.
There's a rapper called Mac Miller.
Oh,
but yeah, unfortunately, he had an overdose, and now I'm the only Mac Miller.
I was gonna say, so you just slid right in there, right? Now's my chance.
He's a good kid. I had him on a tour. Actually, he's a really good.
Really? Yeah. No, it's a really sad story, but.
Well, no, if you got any info you want about the early days, man, and not only myself, but my wife was there for a lot of the recording that we did, right? Because she drove us back and forth. I got the Jeopardy story is really rad, dude. Like that, because that blew again. That's just like it's such good conversation when we're out mingling in Kingston here, because we've been to places where there's been like I remember the Tragically Hip there, or I mentioned other people that were important from things and. You want to have stories, Tim.
Yeah,
you want to have stories. And our main news guy here, what's his name, Lonnie? Bill Welichka is our main news guy. Remember Bill Welichka from Much Music?
I know that name.
He had the hair.
Oh, yeah, with the curly hair.
Yeah. So Bill Welichka is like our main news guy here, right? He does the morning show and everything. Yeah. So it's like the generation of everything that we started is like kind of running Kingston. Like Mark runs the music scene out here. He has a film festival, man. I just got put on the board of directors for the whole, it's the music scene, the whole Kingston music thing.
Congrats.
I'm now on thanks, buddy. So I'm now on the board of directors for that. And they got lots of grants coming in, Tim. So we're going to get you guys down here when things are good. And you guys are going to come to my house and I'm going to barbecue you, whatever you want to eat. You can chill out, bring your wife. Like if you're not on tour and it's a one-off, that would be great because then your family could come and hang out at my house if they wanted to.
I'm just going to come hang out with you and not have a show.
Well, that's even better, dude. I think that would be fantastic. I'm right off the 401. I'm telling people where I live right online here. I probably shouldn't do that, but
Mark Garnish just weighed in and
hey,
says,
there's Mark right there.
There's Mark.
I have the Kids on Drugs CD that Happy Go Lucky, and then you guys
he's got it too.
Show with
someone's gonna leak it. I'm sure it's out there.
In Kingston
we shouldn't. No way. Nobody will leak it. Nobody's. The
funny
thing is,
it is what it is.
You try and find it though, dude. I'm telling you, Tim. It is like the hidden, the lost tracks of Protest the Hero. This band called Happy Go Lucky, same member. Like it's the mystique around. It's amazing. I got to forward you some of my emails that I get from these guys too. If you wanted them for your book, because it's great. It's really funny. And I'm always like, well, first I'm like, how did you know me? Like, why are you contacting me? But I guess I'm credited on like some of the online credits for the album, right? So Yeah.
Yeah. MrMachete.com.
That was a long time ago.
Buzzworks. Do you guys keep in touch with Buzz?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
he's
not
like,
really,
haven't
but
talked to him in
like
years, but
I could contact him if I wanted to. Let's put it that
Well,
way.
I like that.
Yeah, it's like, well, that's where people could sign. They could sign your autograph for people.
Oh,
right?
okay. Fair
When-
enough.
When people come,
It
they're
also
like,
was we had $9 to make it, so there's the other side of that too. We didn't have enough for the middle.
well,
Fair enough. That picture too.
that's me on the cover
Brent,
there, eh, Tim?
Brent, were you giving me the were you guys wrapping up or?
Oh no, we can talk as long
I'm,
as you
just,
want to talk.
I'm wanting you to definitely make sure you get all the stuff in that you want to talk about.
Oh,
Yeah, buddy.
As far as like your.
But
like
Tim, do
your,
you know that's me on the
I want
cover,
you to
right?
get-
Tim, you know that's
yeah,
me. On
okay. Okay. Yeah.
that's me.
I think I did once, but yeah.
Now you know again. That's me. It's not my mask.
Well,
That's me.
Mark just said, he goes, it's the one. Isn't that the one where Chris is falling into the hashtag?
Yes. The
Ah,
mask on.
Spooky.
Dude,
But-
that's
but-
classic though, buddy. That's classic.
Does Buzz still record?
I think
I
he.
don't know.
I-
You know what?
I
I know
don't
he's
know.
not watching, so I'm just gonna throw it out there.
I don't think he does. I think he was. I think he does like some of those like.
I had to stop following him,
Blues-
Tim. He's a huge
blues
Trump
guys.
supporter, man, and I had to stop following him back when all that was going on.
Yeah, fair enough. I know.
Thank you.
I just know that stuff is polarizing, and
Oh, it's too. Again, it's like that's another reason why to stay offline, right? When all that was going on, it was like, what
Yeah.
the hell, man? But especially when a friend's like echoing things that you're so disagreeing with, it's very disheartening. I would rather not know. You know what I mean?
yeah, and it's
I-
hard to engage with someone with a different opinion and not make it confrontational. I think that's
Exactly.
something I'm trying to learn, and with COVID, like, watching videos that I don't agree with the opinions and trying to like approach it with an open mind and just being like, okay, here's information. And, because what you can do is curate you can curate the opinions you like to you. So you'll never see anything outside of what isn't in your comfort zone. Right.
Right.
And I think that it is important to see other information and try to kind of land on your own opinion from kind of all.
Yeah, it's like should I be ignorant to it all, or should I like live in my own little happy world, right? Like it's hard to find that common ground.
Yeah.
Especially when you like when you see something that somebody's loving, and it's totally like somebody will say something and you're like, wow, I am so against that. And then you turn on your computer and you see somebody saying, no, that guy's totally right. And you're like, you're yelling at the TV, and then you want to yell at this friend of yours for their voicing that opinion. See, I don't do politics on any of my feeds at all. I avoid it all. And I'd rather not know, to be honest with you. But you're right. See, I'm old though, right, Tim? Like I'm even older than you, man. So I'm getting old, and I'm at the point now where I can't. That's okay, dude. You can wear a hat. You can. I'm still
He's
old.
way older than me too, so we have that.
See, I'm even
discussion
older
every
than
week.
Brent. That's really old. I'm too old to argue about it with people anymore. You know what I mean? So I like to
Yeah, totally.
live in my comic book bliss. But there's a few years ago where I was debating. It's like, should I be ignorant to it, or because I could stand up and say some stuff, but I don't think that's my position in life. I think my position in life is to help the younger generation be happy with music and art, and know that you can follow through with being an artist and a musician. It's not impossible. You just have to.
And
believe in it.
I do think that's the best thing you can do if you want to put positive change into this world, is influence the younger generation with good values.
Totally, Tim. Yeah, because they're going to take care of us, right? We're going to live in the world that they create. And I've always said, I love that line at the end of the Breakfast Club, man. Like, when I get old, who's going to help me? These kids aren't. No, they're not going to help you because you treated them like crap. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah.
No,
So
for sure.
I just want to say thanks for coming on, though, Tim. Do you,
Yeah.
I was looking
Yeah.
forward to this one all week. So pop, I got to mention one thing though. Are you into any pop culture, like movies? If you were to throw on a movie, are you a documentary guy?
Yeah, documentary.
Okay,
I always want to learn. But what was I watching? Let me think of some of the shows. My wife and I, we argue over what to watch, but we end up falling somewhere. But we watched that. What was the show with the girls stranded on the island on Prime? I'm drawing a blank.
Girl Stranded on an Island on Prime.
That was a documentary.
No, it was just a
Movie. Yeah.
fictional. No, it was a series. I'm really bad with names. And what was the other? I can't remember. Like, for example, the last things that like I chose to watch was that the Chicago 7.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I just
So
saw it the other
that,
day.
which is, I guess, like kind of politically driven.
Yeah.
I like that Amends documentary show, which is talking about the 14th Amendment and all the like unrecognized groups of people that were like discriminated against. I watched that Game Changers documentary, which is about like athletic performance and plant-based diet. So yeah, again, curating stuff of my interest in documentaries. Trying to.
I'm in the true crime rabbit hole right now, man. Because
I had to stop.
Oh, did you really?
Well, it does. I get sucked into it, but it's like I feel like it doesn't put my head in a good place. Like I really like this podcast called Crime Junkies.
Yes.
And like it's addictive, and it's just like I don't want to go around the world. I don't want to be naive, but I don't want to go around the world doubting everyone and not trusting people.
That's tough, huh? Did you see Evil Genius on
I
Netflix?
watched that.
That was great because I remember that with the
bomb.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he's going into the bank. He's got a bomb. This is a bomb. Pizza delivery guy, right? Oh man, David, like the news footage of that was horrendous. But that kind of thing, right? Because it starts off as like, okay, well, this guy robbed a bank, and the hills and the layers to that story was incredible.
But all of them, like I think I saw this like meme that was just saying like, here's the issue, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down. It's unresolved at the end. Like there was a thing with I forget what it was called, like Don't Fuck with Cats, the Luca Magnotta one.
I haven't watched that one yet, but
that was interesting. There was that one with the girl at the hotel in LA.
Right. She's from here, from Vancouver.
Yeah, from Vancouver.
It was a big story. It was a big
and she had bipolar.
Right.
Yeah,
she's found
in
the water thing
story here because that was the first thing that they were talking about was how she was found. They didn't talk about the Cecil per se. It was just this mystery about how she vanished from Vancouver and then she went to LA and then how they found her. So that was the core of the story.
Was that the end of it though? She had some mental issues, and that's what happened. Wasn't anybody chasing her? Or?
She stopped taking her meds, and she was having like a manic episode. And I could relate to that, where it's like they showing videos of her in an elevator, and they're like, "Why is she going out the thing and looking both ways and like acting weird?" It's just like because she's having delusions and
withdrawal from whatever. Yeah, that's too bad. Yeah, that was. I've seen that one a while ago before that was out. I see. I'm watching on YouTube those 30-second ones. I'll just go to one of those channels and just let it run while I'm drawing and working, right? And I listen and then it gets to the point where it's like, I got to put on like some Simpsons or Bob's Burgers or something, right? Or some old Spider-Man cartoons just to jet out of that. But it's so intriguing, especially when I'm writing about characters in a comic book world, villains and heroes, and you hear about these villains, man, and how they get away with some of this stuff. And the thing that pisses me off the most is some of the things between the law. Did you see that one where that guy was saying he committed like 360 murders, and what it was the Rangers feeding him the information, like 360 people, and this guy he had buck teeth. He wasn't right. He was pardon. Confessions of a Killer. Wow.
Okay, no, I didn't.
He did kill somebody, but these cops, man, took advantage of this guy's intellect and you got to watch it, Tim. I won't tell you anymore, but poor guy, man. Like it's crazy. So that was the one thing. Man. I have a hard time watching the ones where it's like people are like they're in jail for 10 years, but they find out that guy didn't do it. When it's an injustice of the law, that's when I'm like, I really have a thing for that. It's probably my the superhero side of me. I don't know. But.
Well, like I think the problem that I have with all of that stuff is that there's no talk about they cast the person who is the murderer or whoever is the villain. They cast them as this evil person. And it's like the way I'm starting to look at some of that is it's someone who's very sick. And it's like, I want to hear the story of them, getting well. And it's like, there's no follow up. It's like, this person did this and they're in jail and lock them up and all that shit. And it's just like, I want to hear about the person that went into jail, serial killer, and came out this changed person. Right. And now is like contributing. And it's like, I know there's stories like that.
You know what's funny, Tim? There is one. There's a guy, and this is like, there's a bunch of them. There's Damien Eccles, obviously, that went in and Pearl Jam got him out.
Okay.
He was convicted and Pearl Jam got him out. I know this sounds odd, but there's actually a guy documenting his life out of prison for going for murder. on TikTok every day.
Wow.
And talking about like, I got a job, I got fired because I'm a convicted murderer, but I'm not a. This was, you know, kind of explains its story. It's pretty typical for like that scenario where it was like a bad, wrong place, wrong time, all the rest of it. But he's documenting what he's going throughout. But on the flip side, he's also making right, and he's documenting the whole thing as he's going. Like,
That's cool.
This was the woman that came in and taught me in prison, and who helped me get my grade 12 to go in. And so she doesn't know I'm out. So he went and knocks on her door, and she's like she didn't think he'd ever get out. And so he's making amends. And to your point, Tim, that is like a killer story to watch, because he's literally like full of remorse. Clearly it was a mistake. And then he's making it right, trying to fix his brain, do the whole thing. And it's really interesting.
Well, I noticed when they do the sentencings, they pick out, like, you know, the judge will say, like, you have showed no remorse here. As a matter of fact, you know, you seem the opposite. And there's other ones where like, wow, you like, you know, you need some help. It was funny because I was just watching one today, and the stupid kid, he walks by the family and he's like, do something. And I just want to reach in there. And this kid was like, you know, 18 years old, and he was from a little town, and he thought he was like a gangster kind of thing, right? And he was walking by the family of the kid he killed, and he's yelling, do something. And then after a month goes by, he did a plea deal, and he ratted out all his friends. Yeah. Like the toughest one out of the group, right? And he ratted out all his friends and got a lesser sentence out of the thing there. But yeah. So do you collect anything, Tim, other than guitars?
I'm not a huge guitar collector. I didn't hurt. I do have some in the back. I actually just put that one on display a couple of days ago, but that's my dad's.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which was
buddy.
I got it handed down to me when he passed. But that's the guitar I learned on, and it's like a 1960s Hofner.
That's awesome,
so
pal.
I was actually playing it the other day, and it was bringing back some memories. But what else do I collect? And also from my dad, like my dad was definitely a collector, and when he died, he left me a lot of his collection. So I have like boxes of baseball cards and hockey cards.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
But I have 1960s, maybe late 50s hockey cards.
What?
And some of them are in pretty good condition, and some of his baseball cards from that era. And then we started collecting together in like the 90s. So I don't think there's much value in the ones that we bought.
Oh, you never know, man. You never know. 90s are starting. 90s stuff is starting to become valuable, especially comic books. Yeah.
I got a Cal Ripken that I thought was worth loads, and it's not quite there.
You have to get them. Yeah, you have to get them graded if you really want to sell them. So you have to send them to this company that will grade them and like certify them, and that costs a little bit of money. So I don't know. I think I have a few Gordie Howe cards that are like worth like maybe 600.
Do you have a Wayne Gretzky rookie? Because that's like a $500,000 card, man. If that's in there, man.
Yeah. Anyways, I have to go through it, but it's all kind of there.
So your dad was a big collector of stuff like that. Huh? Did he collect comics?
Yeah.
Any comics?
Oh, hold on. So see this table?
Yes.
You can't really see. Let me move.
I can see the table. Are those comics?
Well, no, it's just stuff. But I'll explain.
Yeah.
I guess it's part of like grieving and whatever, but it's like I got some stuff from my stepmom of his, and I just like put it in a bag in a box and had it under my desk for like 3 years or whatever. Yeah. And my next step in this process was like, I'm taking it out from on my desk, I'm putting it on this table. And I did find a few comics in there. It's like Romeo and Juliet and whatever, but I'll show you. Hold on.
I love comics, dude. It doesn't matter what they are. See, everybody has comics, Brent. Everybody loves this stuff. Huh?
Classic illustrated.
Oh my gosh, dude, look at that. 15 cents. So that's like, what's that, 1968? Or 71?
I don't
know. What it'll say, Tim, in the very inside cover. Let me show you. I got a Krang magazine. It'll be at the bottom of the inside
1964.
cover. Oh, whoa. Dude, you got something there, buddy.
Do you want me to send you them?
Yes.
I'll send you one of these.
Seriously?
Sure, like
he'll mistakenly send you the one that's worth $52,000.
No, dude, my collection goes to my daughter. She's already pinned it. Like it's Moby Dick.
There you go.
Those look like they're in great condition.
I guess like they're a little. I don't know. They're like.
Well, for 1962 or what'd you say 64?
This one's 66.
Oh man, that's awesome. Anything in the 60s is awesome, dude. See, I love that stuff. See, that just makes me smile, Tim. Like that's when I'm sad. I don't play my guitar anymore. I get a box of my comics out and I just go through them. And it just makes me happy. You know what I mean? It used to be my guitar. Now I'm getting older. Now when I play guitar, I feel like I have to do something. You know what I mean? It's like if I get my guitar out now, I'm like, okay, well, I better finish this song, or I better learn something for somebody. It's almost like a work thing when I put my guitar on now, which is sad.
Yeah, no, I get that for sure.
I think I need a break from that. But drawing, dude, yeah, it's my happy place. Like I love, especially that old art on those comic books, dude. Yeah. Well, your dad sounds like he was a rad dude. He liked music, he liked comic books, and he liked sports card. Did he drink beer?
He was more of a wine guy.
We would get along fine.
Yeah, he had him and I would get along fine. Cellar.
Oh,
yeah, he definitely. He was in bands. He taught me how to play guitar.
Really?
He claimed he was in a band called Nirvana in like the 60s.
Really?
Yeah. So
you're putting this in your book, right? You're putting all this stuff in your book, right?
Yeah, I'm still figuring out. But
a tough subject, I'm sure, my friend. But I
no, not even that. But I just trying to figure out where the start is. Like I was kind of starting at the beginning of PTH, but I feel like there may need to be like two narratives where it's like this is my life and this is the band, and
well, dude, I love writing. See, that's I now that's my new thing, right? And that's why my favorite thing is to watch the movie The Shining, which is my favorite movie while I'm drawing. Like that, when I'm watching The Shining and I'm drawing, I'm like in my happy place. That's like my all-time favorite movie. So that's cool though, dude. He sounds like it was a really rad guy. I like that. And your book should reflect. It sounds so. When did you decide you were going to write a book?
I don't know. It's been something that I've been thinking about for a while. It's been really hard to like make progress on it, but I'm just trying to block out a day here and there and just kind of focus on it and just kind of stream of consciousness.
Don't force it, right? Yeah.
But I just think it's a really good way for me to reflect. I feel like sometimes I wasn't always present in those moments and grateful for them as they were happening. So I think it's kind of nice to revisit them, and especially with all this and not being touring and being super active in a band right now, it's like you kind of feel like you took it for granted. But I feel like there is a pretty interesting story, and I've seen a lot and been through a lot, and I just kind of want to write about it and from like my wise self, looking back on a lot of the interesting and silly things that I did. And
if you need anything from me, buddy, and I have some students that I could even get a hold of who have met you guys through, my school or whatever you need from me, man. You got my email, man. Send me an email and give you my text number and everything at all. So I'm in Kingston, so I don't know how far away you are right now, but always available,
I'm in
dude.
Scarborough.
Okay. Well,
hop on the VIA train. You can be there in 2 hours.
Well, that was
the VIA train's right up the road.
We got him out to Vancouver once.
Oh, me? Yeah.
We got Chris out to Vancouver once,
Tim, as I say, that's my anxiety, buddy. My traveling, traveling as anxiety. I went to the States with my wife last year, and it was just before COVID started, and I was in a line for 3 hours. And when I get anxiety, I have to go to the bathroom, and I was not allowed to get out of that line. And dude, I was like, it was really bad. Like I was hyperventilating. I was gagging, almost throwing up. Yeah, it was really bad. Really bad. And I take CBD oil, a medical one that helps me, and I couldn't bring it with me because I was going to the States. So Tim, I can't travel very far. And then my doctor said to me, she said, okay, you're you're in your late 40s now. If you don't want to travel, don't travel, Chris. And I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have to. And dude, just her saying that to me, Tim, made me feel like you're right. You don't have to travel. You know what I mean? Tim, and that's the thing. But that to me, and that's funny because talking, with politics different, mental health. I really think it helps for other people to talk with other people so they can share their experiences. And that was when she said to me, you're old enough that you don't have to do these things that freak you out. You're not, when you're a kid and you have to do them.
Yeah.
It's not like, that's what she's saying. It's not like that anymore, Chris. And kind of a light shone on me. It's like, okay, if people think I'm being like ignorant or rude, I'm not. And if I explain to them and they don't understand, then they don't care about me.
Yeah, totally. And the other thing too is that like the times that I've been honest with like how I'm feeling. So if it was like a mental thing where it's like, hey, just a heads up, I'm depressed. If I'm seeming like a dick or an asshole, it's like, don't take it personally, and then someone's just like, completely understand. It's just like,
Right?
weight is off my chest.
All good.
And if you're in a line and you're like, hey, listen, I have crazy anxiety right now. I just need to go to the bathroom. I'll be back in 5. Do you mind holding my spot? Someone would probably be like, absolutely. Maybe not, but
not
whatever.
in the airport. Not in the
it's more
airport.
of a
They wouldn't
thing
let me
now,
do
though.
that. Yeah.
Now it's more. I mean, it is definitely. I think the stigma is big time off of it now. From all of it, all the mental side of it. I think you're getting it a lot more, especially Tim, like in touring and all the rest of it. I mean, it is, like it
Huge
weighs
mental
on
strain.
you. And then it's on the other side, you're surrounded by people going through relatively the same thing. So every single day there's some, we're all missing home. We're all, on 4 days of shows in a row. We're all doing, we're all on our off day, hitting the pub like I was, not anymore, but it was like it can weigh. And if you go into the thing, you're not prepped for it. You guys blew up fast in big, if you think about it, the way, because I hit and the way it went.
Well, you guys were really, you guys were,
and it was thrown at you, right? And to your point, why are we getting booze backstage? And it's because it's like, well, you're in a band, you got to drink, you got to do the whole thing. And it's like, it's such a, it's such a thing that's attached to the business that it's only really I've only seen it in the last couple of years where there's a sober bus or there's a this, like where people are actually going, oh, I don't drink. I did my first touring over the last 2 years sober, and you take a lot of shit for it, and that's a mental wear down. People go, you don't drink. Like, well, I also don't do blow and I also don't do heroin. What's the fucking difference? Right. So the funny thing is, but the stigma around it can weigh on you mentally. And so it's kind of a thing that you have to battle through. And you guys were thrown at it young. And like, how old are you guys now on average?
I'm 35.
Right. So, I mean,
still young.
Still, yeah. And you still came through it. And thankfully you're the old grizzled vets now that can tour properly.
That's what Brent was saying tonight.
Because
I was classifying you guys as new metal, and Brent's like, they're not new metal, man. They're like, and I'm, because I get stuck in my own little world here, right? And you guys are still, young to me, like really young.
Yeah.
But yeah, Brent's like, no, dude, they're like grizzled veterans now, man. They're not new metal. Because I was asked what my favorite new metal band was, and I was like, Protest the Hero, hands down. They're like, it's not really new metal. It's like, okay, what, like NU? I don't know what you mean.
NU. No, but to Brent's point there, like, yeah, you're in this, I would say, high stress situation. Even though you don't have a lot of responsibility, you're putting a lot of stress on your body with travel, sleep schedule, not eating well, changing time zones, confusing yourself every day while waking up and trying to find out where the toilet is. And so there's all of those factors. Is the other factor is like every night's Friday night wherever you are. So you're playing in a bar usually, and everyone that's there is super excited. And part of the culture around rock music, let's say, is like, yeah, it's party, let's drink, whatever. So it's like, if you choose not to do that and you want to socialize after, and everyone wants to buy you a beer, a shot, whatever. And I know we brought a lot of that stuff on. What's that?
Try going out with the company card.
Yeah.
Oh,
but I know we brought a lot of that on ourselves by also drinking and doing whatever and saying whatever on stage. But when you're in that environment, and it does wear on you when you refuse and no thank you. And I haven't drank for a while, and especially when I tour, I don't drink or I stay completely sober. It's sometimes you just don't want to have that conversation with a stranger over and over again. So, I drink a non-alcoholic beer, or, make a fake cocktail or whatever it is. There you go. Yeah, those are great.
They sponsor the podcast.
It is one of those things where it's just like, you are an outlier if you're not kind of participating. You don't want to.
You hit a great note there. Like your fans that are coming out, like, it's like, especially if they're huge fans, that's their night of like a 6-month period. Whereas this is just this is just a small part of your career. So they're all like, 100 miles an hour going, this is the night we're going all night. And you're like, yeah, I got to do the same thing like 30 more times. And they don't understand that. And that's tough, man. There's so much mental anxiety of being in a band that people don't understand, like Tim, if what happened to you guys happened to me, I would probably be dead, dude. So good for you. Like I'm bad at saying no. You know what I mean? Like, especially at your age, like kudos to you guys, man.
No, yeah, so am I. And it's difficult. And, also, I don't think there's anything wrong with people wanting to like go out on that night and have fun. And,
of course
that's a big night and people, should be able to come to the shows and have fun. But it, especially when you're sober and you get to watch all of that from a sober lens, it is very interesting watching the behavior and what's going on, man. And just kind of being an observer. And sometimes it's funny and sometimes it's annoying, but
you could probably write a book on that. Just that subject alone, right?
It's tough, man. It's 2 years for me, and I'm over it now. But it's that initial hurdle of like, you must not be having a good time. Actually,
yeah,
I'm up at 7. You're just getting.
Hopefully, I think that stigma is changing nowadays. Especially with like marijuana is legal now in Canada and stuff like that. There's other ways, and you don't have to smoke marijuana that will make you like all tired and stuff. There's actually CBD. There's other ways that you can occupy yourself these days, and then the non-alcoholic beer as well, right? Like it's a little different now, which is good.
And it's more about like the excess and like the binging, right? Yeah. So it's like, finding that line between like, I'm going to go out and have a good time and have a few laughs and knock a couple back versus where it's like, I'm going to drink as much as I can and black out and who knows what happens to me. And it's like, I think it's that when it's like, when you're abusing a substance, I think that's when hopefully you can say, why am I doing this and what's behind this behavior, right? But not to say, people can't go out and enjoy themselves and do whatever.
Oh no, that's their job. Where your job is to entertain them, right? And I just found that like the mental effect that takes on musicians and performers. A lot of people don't really get that, especially fans. They don't really get that because they have all the right in the world to go out there and just cut loose, right? Yeah. But it's tough on performers because you got to be on, and plus you want to. I remember when I was in Caliber, when I was talking with the Sony guys at the Universal, and they're like, "Well, you're too old. Tell people you're this age. Cut this off. And don't mention you got a kid." Like there was rules, and then you go home and you feel like you're a liar and a phony, like I did. That's just my thing, right? But people don't understand the stress that is on you when you're out doing that. It's like you take off from your family and everything because you guys are all family men now, I guess, right? Like Rhodey and Luke.
Yeah, both Rhodey and I have kids and are married. Luke is settled down. He has a dog and a cat.
There you go.
Our drummer Mike is engaged. So yeah, it's like we're trying to live normal lives. Most of us kind of have another thing that we're working on that's like kind of more of our full-time, part-time thing, and the band's becoming this kind of part-time thing.
Just for now?
So it's just, I feel like at this age, it's like we don't want to, and we can't do it full time. We have other things that are important to us.
Get older, right? So is writing is the next thing that you would probably think you would want to tackle, or is there any other things? Because what did Mo do after drumming?
So he was teaching for a while. Like he went to school to do like tool and die in the trades.
Okay, so that's true.
And then he was teaching at the school he went to, and then now he works for this company where like the last I talked to him, they were designing like trade shows, but they've migrated to like making virtual trade shows. So he was showing me like, here's this company's booth that we created, and you go on and there's a screen and you click through and there's this digital thing, and like,
wow.
But he's a super smart guy.
Oh yeah. I heard the tool. Dude, you guys were all super smart, man. There was no weak link there, my friend. But that was another rumor that was going through my school was that, he quit to be a tool and die guy. It's like, seriously? Wow. And they'd ask me, I'd be like, I don't really know. I'm not sure why. So now we know there's another Protest the Hero myth, but that one was true. That one was true.
Yeah, but it's funny. Like both him and RF end up being like teachers, and it's like RF had a high school education, and like, how are you teaching college? And then Mo just goes to college, and then eventually he's a teacher at that college, and it's just like
different world with the college teachers, right? But everybody loved RF, man. Like my daughter, same thing. She was afraid to go up, and I kept saying, "Go up and say hi to him. Tell him who you are." She just waited till the very last day when everybody was like hugging him and saying goodbye to him and thanking him. That's when she first went to talk to him. Yeah. But yeah, Tim, you're always welcome at my house, Tim. Always welcome here,
All
man.
right.
And I'm just right off the 401. I don't like it's the first coming from where you are. It's the first one, and I'm just like I can basically see the 401 from my house here, man. It's not like you got to drive all through because Kingston's weird, right, with the one ways and everything.
Yeah,
Nah,
and then
dude.
it gets weird with the downtown. But
Yeah, that's where Mark lives. No, I'm like literally a minute, 2 minutes off the 401. Real easy to get to, especially if you're traveling like out past Kingston, man. It's a great spot to just stop in and say hi to me.
all right, well,
But you're more than welcome to bring I'm a family guy, man. You know what I mean? Like I teach, my daughter's back because of the COVID and she's in the basement with an apartment. And it's just me and my wife and the animals, really. Yeah.
Awesome.
Love to have you.
Yeah,
Rad, buddy.
that's great.
Protest the Hero, friends. Nominated for Juno. That's Tim Mac Miller, the new Mac
Got
Miller.
it. Don't forget the Mac.
The Mac Miller.
Come back anytime,
When I got
brother.
married, I got the
would
Mac.
Love to have you. And say hi to the fellas. Congrats. We'll be watching to see if you guys win. But regardless, it's an amazing story that you guys got there again. And this time, especially putting out killer records.
Yeah.
I get nominated for things. It's awesome, man.
Also, my parents watch every episode, and every time they're like, "Yeah, I could tell you like you were smiling so much tonight." I'm sure I'm going to get the big smile message tonight from my mom. She loves watching this.
Oh,
Stuff. But I love
great
talking
chat.
the old times. The old time stuff is great,
Yeah.
Tim. You know what I mean? It remembers where you come from and why you are who you are and why you're doing things, man. Like it's just, it's great. And as you said, the music scene. We're all family, man. We've done a lot of cool things.
Yeah,
Stay
absolutely.
in touch, brother.
Yeah, well, have a good night, guys.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks,
I'm
buddy.
going to send you a personal message there with my info, buddy, after I'm all
Sounds
said and
good.
done here. And hopefully we'll talk soon.
Yeah, awesome.
Come
Good to
back
see you
anytime,
guys.
brother.
Say hi to your family, man.
I will. You take care.
All right. Thanks, bud.
Bye.
Right on.
Rolling along, brother. Rolling along. We
See, I could talk about the old days forever. On and on. Oh, we had 2 hours here almost.
yeah, we gotta wrap.
We do.
We gotta wrap. A
Holy
couple
cow,
things.
dude.
So
I didn't have to take a bathroom break.
I was amazed. Maybe you have a less beer count this time.
No.
Okay, so coming up, you did the guitar lessons the other night, but
I did.
Are you guys doing movie or anything this weekend? Are you doing anything on Twitch this
I'm
weekend?
not sure.
Okay, standing by.
Sure.
You'll see Rad Alex and I. See Rad Alex and I. I think we're going to invade movies. The Kevin Smith.
Oh, you
pop-up in
got to do
Vancouver.
that, buddy.
So I think we're going to do that. There's a Kevin Smith pop-up happening on like up here for a couple weeks. I think on Sunday I'm going to take Alex down to do the movies pop-up in Vancouver. So make sure you're checking that out. We're also going to try to broadcast a rad our Sunday hang from in front of Smallville.
Oh, that'd be so cool, dude.
Yeah, 'cause
Man, I
we're
gotta
like
top
three
that.
episodes.
See, now that's cool. See, now you're challenging me, and I gotta do some cool
3
stuff.
episodes into the Superman and Lois, and we're digging it, so it's
Nice.
pretty rad.
Man,
So
that's good. See, now I got up my game. I like that. I like that a lot. And
Falcon
Winter Soldier next week, man.
Yeah, next week, and I guess we're going to be talking pretty soon about. Well, I'm going to be talking pretty soon about Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Well, if
movie.
I can
So,
watch it, I'll watch it, man. I just don't know where
Yeah.
I can get a hold of the darn thing. I don't have that HBO.
Skeletron out now on
Yeah,
Patreon.
Patreon, Machete Comics, come help me.
You can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com.
Whoa.
That's how you can support the Brenton on Tour podcast.
That's awesome. I like that.
It's buy me a coffee. That's all you got to do. Search for Brenton on Tour or Journey for Java. It's on there. And
I should put
I'm
an
kinda
alternate thing
taking-
on there where they could buy me Incredible Hulk number 181.
There you go.
Do you know what that
How
is?
much
Brent?
is that?
Well,
How
Do
much?
you know what that? Do you know what happens in Hulk 181?
Does he die?
No, it's the first appearance of Wolverine. Lonnie knew it.
Oh,
First appearance of
okay.
Wolverine. Wolverine first appeared in an Incredible Hulk comic book.
60 G's, I'll bet.
Oh wow, I'm blanking on it. I've been looking at a bunch of other
Yeah.
comics. I'm totally blanking on it. But if somebody wants to
Thanks.
buy that for me, I will be totally indebted to you.
Thanks to our friends at Blue Microphones.
Yeah, Blue Microphone's great.
Mixed headphones. Thanks for Dean for hosting us.
Hi, Dean.
Always very happy to be on
Yeah.
as many of these platforms as we can, and he gives us a space to do that. Check out deanblundell.com. Kids on the
Yes.
Escalator on all the platforms. Brand new Brenton on Tour podcast coming out tomorrow with Brian Wheat from Tesla. So that's very
Yay,
exciting for me.
Tesla! And check me out on
Yes.
Twitter because I'm fucking hilarious.
And he's on the TikTok now.
Oh, TikTok. I'm
So-
sorry. Check me out on TikTok because I'm fucking hilarious.
He's on the TikTok.
I am. I'm ticking and talking.
If Chris goes viral on TikTok, they had one of those things that I don't know if you've seen the shit on the TikTok where they go, if you put this up and you don't say anything and you do this,
Oh.
you'll go viral. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, right. So
a lot of little clicky things
there's
on
a
there.
lot of those little things, but the grown-ups are making the best shit. So go to it.
Well, I gotta say,
That
I'm seeing more comic books than bouncies now. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's what's happening on my
That
TikTok.
must be what you're subscribed to.
I know, I'm
There's
just joking.
bouncies everywhere.
That's
Everybody
my-
that has been Kids
wife
on the
smiles.
Escalator podcast. Next week we will be back with a selection of people hanging out. We're going to
Betcha
talk.
Mike's coming back.
I think Mike will probably come back. We're going to do some Winter Soldier. We got some wrestling talk ahead. We got a whole bunch of
Bitchin'.
different stuff, and good times.
Rad dudes.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.